Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and welcome to the post-rotation format. As you can see with the deck lists I have in front of you, as well as the one that we're featuring today, I've got a lot ready. The Alakazam Chandelure and Dragon Ball Tera Box haven't been converted yet, but I have a lot of decks ready for you that, I really want to cover. And well, I am going to be doing the Megas of this set. The only one that I'm not confident with is Mega Clefairy. I've tested my build, done a few other changes to try and help the build, and I'll be honest, I just think the card is a bit mid, but we'll get to that. So today we're going to take a look at Post Rotation Tera Box. This is a deck I've had my eye on because I want to build this IRL, and this deck is actually really solid. There's a lot going for this deck. And, well, we already know why, so that's pretty much what I need to say about Tera Box. We know this deck is good, we know it's going to be good post-rotation, not much more to really say. So as per usual, in the description below there's going to be usual links, double the deck list, which is also available to copy in the description below. There's the games that we'll play, and of course the outro and what I think of the deck. So of course it won't be a Tera Box list without Wellspring, Ogerpon. We are playing 2 copies of this. I mean, like I said, it would not be a Tera Box list without one. And, well, Wellspring is just really good right now, because obviously, from what I've seen, there's a lot of Pult running around. The only deck I am concerned about, if we run into it, is the new Okie Dokie Barbaracle deck. I do want to do a video on that at some point, but, well, I want to do the Megas first, and obviously this deck, because this is a deck I've been really wanting to test post-rotation. And, well, we've got some new candidates in here for, type coverage and things like that. So, hopefully it goes alright. Of course, we do have the typical 1 Iron Leaves, 1 Teal Mask Ogerpon package. This is pretty standard. This gives us grass type coverage. Even though the main deck that we was countering with this has rotated, that being Charizard EX, obviously we still have things like Grimmsnarl to worry about. And obviously the new Mega Zygarde is weak to grass. So it's still important to tech this sort of approach. And I think it's pretty fair that we have, so that's why we're keeping this package. We also have Pikachu, but we are not playing the Light Ball, because, well, we kind of need Crystal. And, well, Lightning type coverage isn't too relevant, because obviously, 300 normally tends to kill stuff anyway. But Pikachu is just really good as not only a wall, but also just a big 300 beat stick against stuff like Mega Kangaskhan. Of course, we do have things like Clefairy, and we're also playing the new Koraidon from Ascended Heroes. This is a pretty solid attacker. It's not the best attacker, I will say, but it does have its moments. So he's also a Terra type, which is also pretty useful, and he has the attack Orichalcum Fang, which is quite a hard word to say, but thankfully I've played a lot of Skyrim, so it's not a problem. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 120 more damage. Times that by 2 for weakness, that is 340. And we also have the option of using Impact Blow in this deck, which does 200 flat, but then we can't use it next turn. Now, my only criticism of my own list, and, I like to criticize my own list from time to time, is I do want a second Latias. I feel like if you prize your Latias, this deck kind of struggles a little bit. But obviously you do have the option of using Iron Leaves as a pivot per se if someone tries to trap you. But I think a second Latias would go really hard in this list. And then of course I did chuck in a single copy of Mega Kangaskhan. This is just a no-brainer. We do need the draw power, and well, it's an extra attacker as well, and it doesn't care what energy it uses. Been a very useful attacker in testing, and obviously with us playing 2 E-Switch and obviously, a high count of Crispin, this has been really fun to use. But anyway, well, let's get into the deck list and let's have a proper look. And welcome to the deck list. This is a deck that you don't really need to add anything from perfect order. I've not really had the reason to. But to be honest, this list has been running like a trooper in testing. As you can see, like I said in the intro part, we have a lot of type coverage. We have Fighting, Psychic, Lightning, Grass, Water. Technically Dark if you want to attack with Fez. We have a lot of type coverage, which is beneficial. And obviously we do have single prize attackers as well, like Fan Rotom, Passimian, which I decided to chuck in Passimian to this deck. Now, Passimian does lose a little bit of value because we are playing at the Noctowl engine, per se. And obviously coordinated throwing is relying on basics. But the nice thing is obviously if we do get our stadium, well, if we do get a stadium bounced and we can discard Noctowls, we can then bench Hoothoots and continue to bring up coordinated throwing's damage while still potentially getting Noctowl value. So even though Passimian is not the best when you consider the engine that we're running, it is still a pretty good attacker, and obviously it can deal with the likes of Fez with just 6 basics down. And that already in itself is pretty good. So of course we're playing a 4-4 Hoothoot Noctowl line, 2 Fan Rotoms, 2 Wellsprings, 1 Teal Mask, 1 Fez, 1 Koraidon, 1 Latias, 1 Iron Leaves, 1 Pikachu, 1 Bloodmoon Ursaluna, 1 Clefairy, 1 Passimian, and of course 1 Mega Kangaskhan. It's our only Mega in the list. Then of course 3 Crispin, 2 Boss, 2 Cyrano, 2 Brock Scouting. I based this off the shell of the Mega Box, which I will be covering Mega Box, my own take on it, post rotation. So I did base it off of that, which is why there's double Cyrano, double Brock Scouting. Brock Scouting is just really good anyway. It can grab you a free Noctowl, it can grab you basics that you need. You know, Cyrano's really good, it can grab you any of your EXs. It's just a really solid card, so why not? And then of course we're playing 1 Lillies, 4 Ultra Ball, 2 Energy Switch, 2 Night Stretcher, 2 Poké Pad, 1 Terra Orb, 1 Buddy Puffin, 1 Sparkling Crystal as our A spec, 1 Air Balloon, 3 Area Zero. I lost, my brain just went complete derp then when I saw Area Zero. Proves how early it is in the morning, I guess. 4 Grass Energy, 2 Fighting Energy, 2 Psychic Energy, 1 Metal Energy, 1 Lightning Energy, and 1 Water Energy. We are playing a slightly higher count of energy. We are playing a decent amount. You know, we don't normally play 11 energy in a list like this, but because it's post-rotation, obviously we don't... Well, we do have energy search per se, but Crispin's going to be the one we're using the most. Now, we're only playing 3. I didn't need to put in a 4th, because this list has been finding energy quite alright. But you could play a 4th Crispin. But I think the most important thing you need to put in is a second Latias. Not only can Latias attack in this list because of the double Psychic, but also, you know, having the free pivot, especially when you start Bloodmoon or Kang, is just so key. And if you don't have that, it can make things pretty awkward. And obviously with no Turo, Penny anymore, can make things pretty awkward in general. But anyway, let's get into a match and see how we do. And welcome to my first game of the post-rotation format. Because, yeah, the update came last night. I imported some of my decks, did some testing, like, against the AI and stuff. Didn't play the ladder, didn't play casual. I just thought, I want to see how my decks are functioning before I get involved with that sort of thing. So that was sort of my thought process last night. But to be honest, like, the decks that I've made, most of them have been running really well, and that's a good thing. It's just Clefable. I'm not confident with it. Ooh, it's not Koraidon. Okay, that's fine. We'll go first or second. He's going first, and that is a Lunatone. Okay, sure. This is probably Lucario then, because judging by the Riolu sleeves at least. Although this opening hand is pretty shocking, I will say. Well, there's a Poké Pad, to be expected. See, even Crispin doesn't help us out here, unless we had Crispin plus, you know, Crystal to then knock out the Lunatone, but then we can't attack with Impact Blow afterward. They're going to grab a Solrock, fair enough. It is their engine after all. Do they have 2 energy so they can attach to the Lunatone and then Lunacycle? Let's find out. There goes a fighting for Lunacycle. They get the draw. Yeah, this opening hand is quite poor, and I'm not happy about it. There's another Poké Pad, so they can at least get a Riolu down. It's interesting to me, like, and I've obviously made this observation over time, like why we're playing the 80 HP Riolu. But when you actually think about it, you know, we play quad fighting Gong anyway. We don't need to play Poffins, you know. But still, just something I observed when I was, you know, making decks in general. But good start for my opponent. We do not have that same luxury, and he even gets a fighting energy on the Riolu, so that's really not good. So we better hope for a top deck of a Sentry. Gravity Mountain's not relevant in this matchup, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, this is not looking good. Because Lucaria's arguably Bediff post-rotation. It does get checked by, you know, Clefairy and stuff like that. But anyway, they're going to fight in Gong, probably grab another energy. Or a Makuhita, they can do that. Fair enough. And that pretty much will be the end of their turn, and there it is. Let's see what we draw. That is awful. I'll just do that. Bounce the stadium, I guess. Monster Makuhita. Pass. I can't really do a lot here. I'd like some energy or, you know, something good, please. Oh, of course he has the air balloon in his hand. Just my luck. What's next? Have you got Lucario plus fighting energy? Because then I will be fuming. Yeah, this is not off to a good start for us. But, I mean, I didn't really have many options there. I could have, you know, bossed the Lunatone, but obviously it's only a 1 retreat. Makuhita's a 2. And there's the Meowth. Meowth is weak to fighting, but, well, we don't exactly have a board state. And the last ditch catch is going to grab a Mahilda. Yeah, I'm just going to scoop it. See you in game 2. Not winning against anything with a Meowth in the deck. And, well, you know, Meowth is a good card, but I didn't add one in because it's another, you know, bench space that we don't need, per se. And plus, the Noctowl engine is more than adequate. When you actually find them, that is. Anywho, see you in game 2. Well, that wasn't exactly a great start, now was it? But, well, that's PTCG Live just giving me a hug, it seems. You know, it gave me a long, loving embrace, as it said, hey, here's the new set, Joe. Put your deck building to the test. You know, try out your new deck list, and then it just completely screws me over. But it's kind of like that, like one of those memes where two characters hug, and then the other one just stabs them in the back. That's how it feels with PTCG Live, but, you know, that's just standard, isn't it? But let's hope for a better opening hand. That's a mulligan. And we do give away quite a bit. They might think we're playing like Mega Box with owls. But yeah, I do have a Mega Box build, which you would have seen in the decks that I have ready. It is a pretty good one. It is based off of the winning Fukuoka list. Because why wouldn't it be? But no, it's a really solid deck, and I'm really enjoying it. I based it off of that, made a few modifications, which I thought was quite important. And so far, can't argue with it. So we do have a Poffin in hand, and they start their Meowth, which is probably one of their worst starters. One, because it's so squishy at 170 HP, but also you can't use the ability. Bug Catching Set, I suspect we're against... Ooh, is this our Believer? Yes, I like to see our Believer. I like to see a bit of our Believer. I like the fact that they've had a Meowth. I think that's pretty fair. And they're already attaching to Tealmask Ogerpon. They are threatening the turn 2 Tealmask swing, which is fair enough. Obviously, Meowth, well, not Meowth, our Believer is actually quite dangerous, because one, we don't really have an answer to it, but also two, it's just a big bad, you know, 2-prizer that we don't really want to deal with. Meowth, however, we will happily feast on. I'm wondering, though, like, what other last-ditch abilities are they going to bring in? Because I don't know if anyone's properly read this card, but it says you can't use more than one ability that has last-ditch in its name each turn. I suspect we're going to get more last-ditch effects, because this is basically Luminion V in a bad Frock, but still. The reason I say bad Frock is because at least Luminion could hit 120 damage. And they're just going to go for another Teal Dance. Alright, sure. And that's a pass. Alright, let's see what we get off the top. Metal Energy, not particularly useful. But we can thin with the Fan. I'll prize check when I Fan. So that's Fan Call. But you are kidding me. I've prized 2 Noctowl? Sheesh. Alright, well... See, the trouble is we don't really hit these Tealmasks for, you know, big damage, and obviously Wellspring is not valuable in this matchup. Well, we've not prized anything important. Have we prized Latias? No, that's good. We've got a Crispin in hand, we've got our Brox in there, we've got a Terra prizes, and we've got multiple energy in hand. I'm just going to have to take the one Noctowl, rather annoyingly. So Poké Pad for Passimian. I can then attach water to Hoothoot, because that's less valuable in this matchup. Crispin. Take these out. Put Passimian down. Because at least if I get another, you know, basic Pokemon down... In fact, no, it's not going to matter if I get a heads on triple stab. So yeah, I'll triple stab. The 10 actually matters here, because with weakness, Passimian kills this. So we could get something going. Obviously, he is going to attack with his Teal Mass, but if we get a boss off the top, that's going to be pretty good. Or at least a way to get a Terra Pokemon down. We can use Passimian and go from there. They're going to Lillies, interestingly. But no, this 10 is actually relevant, because now it means, like I said, Passimian can now kill Meowth with weakness. Another bug catching set. This just appears to be like Arboliva just making a cameo appearance, and it's mostly a Teal Mass deck, which is actually an issue for us, because we don't play a way to deal with Teal Mask. You know, we don't play a Moltres, which, you know, I can only fit so much in this list, but, you know. Let's see what they do, because like I said, they do have the attack here, so if they have a spare grass, they can attach to Meowth and retreat, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to go into the Teal Mask, Night Stretcher back that grass, because they are obsessed with grass energy in this deck. How many grass are you running if you're mainly an Arboliva deck? Like, this is wild. You even got the Meganium package? Wow, this is a bit of a pile. But the pile is clearly working for him, because he's just took out one of our main attack, well, our main engine Pokemon. I'm going to have to promote the Passimian, because, well, if we top deck a Terra, we can at least do something that can at least retreat this, but this is not looking good. Well, that actually just saved my bacon. So, what I could do here... Ooh, no, I can't. Could I? Hold on. So I could simply go Noctowl for Area 0 boss and take out the Meowth, but then I'm not really setting up anything else. But I definitely need boss to take out the Meowth. I know that much. So I'm going to take boss, because I need another Pokemon down to actually do it. And I think I'll just take an Ultra Ball, because then I can Ultra Ball away Lightning and Metal and grab myself I can actually grab Fez here. So we'll get rid of these two. I can grab my Fez, because then it means I can still attach with, you know, the Passimian and all that. So then we'll Fez for 3. Okay, we've got a bunch of energy, but that's fine, because now I can go attach Psychic, because Psychic's not too relevant. I can boss the Meowth, and with the coordinated throwing, I can do exactly 160, which is why that triple stab was relevant, and take out the Meowth for 2 prizes. Not the best way to, you know, get this whole thing going, but I had to do something there. We are going to lose Passimian, but we do have options. There's their Fez. Of course they happen to have Fez in hand. This guy's got everything in his hand, man. And he's even got the Bayleaf and the Dolliv. Yeah, this isn't looking good. I mean, if I can Wellspring the Dolliv and the Bayleaf, that will give us a huge advantage. But that means I have to get a lot of energy down, which, you know, it's quite tricky to do so. Unless we, like, draw into, you know, Crispin plus Sparkling Crystal. Or, like, if they retreat this Teal Mass for whatever reason and go into, like, Bayleaf or Dolliv. We don't really have a lot of options here. And this is the problem, like, not playing a Fire-type coverage attacker in this list. Is we simply just can't deal with them. There's Ultra Ball. Grabbing we're getting rid of Poké Pad and their Lillies. What are they grabbing this time? Have you got Forest in hand? No, they're grabbing another Meowth. Okay, they're playing double Meowth. Wait, what? That is terrible sequencing. Why would you do that? Why would you then... Or why would you Ultra... I mean, to be fair, it's not terrible sequencing. It's just, like, confusing. Surely you wouldn't take anything because you're not thinning the deck with Lilies, but I don't know. But like I said, we are losing Passimian here, which is pretty bad for us. But I'm hoping, like, if we manage to get Teal Mask off the top, or like with Fez, we could be okay here. Could be. It's very much copium, but we could be okay. So I'm going to promote the Wellspring, because Wellspring could take a hit from Teal Mask at the very least. Unless they get Meganium down. Which at this rate with this opponent, they are going to do so. But I need to promote Wellspring. Wellspring's my only hope right now. I can deal with Arbeliever, I'm not too worried about that. I need to take out Bayleaf if possible. So let's promote the Wellspring. And there's Teal Mask off the top. Excellent. That is exactly what I needed. So let's get an extra draw in. There's a Hoot. Good. So we'll Fez for 3. There's Crystal. Okay. So I could go for Attach on the Wellspring and hope I get... but then again, I'm going on to another prize map. That just feels rough. I could, hold on, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, because it, in fact, no, it doesn't cover the attack cost. Oh, this is tough. See, I'm tempted to, like, Crystal Teal Mask, but I would need another Pokemon down to actually do this. I can do that. Because I'm not doing enough damage. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. I'm not doing enough. In fact, no, it might be. I think it's doing enough. Is it? You know what? We're just going to go for it, because I have no options here. I'm going to Lilies first, though, because I need a fresh hand. Okay, the Area Zero is good. Am I doing enough? Yeah, I didn't think I was. But I don't really have an option here. That's the problem. Like, I can at least threaten Bloodmoon at the very least, but I don't have any options here. If I had Crispin, I could have been able to take out this Teal Mask, but because I don't, I just really suffer here. My only hope now is if I manage to... Well, I'm not surviving the turn now. My only hope now is of course, they can't get enough grass onto a Teal Mask. Is my only hope, and maybe I might be able to tank a hit with the Wellspring, but then again, hold on. So if it's double grass, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, so they still take out Wellspring. Yeah, I don't really have an option here. And of course they have the bump, but that's fine, I can live with that. So I can get rid of you, and get rid of you. Because I'm not going to need my Noctowl engine at this point, and plus, you know, we lose anyway, because this has just been a slaughter for us. They're even going to retreat to rub my nose in it, which is even worse. And there we go, 270. So like I say, even if I had Wellspring there, I'd have been dead anyway, so we don't really have a lot of options here. My only hope is that Bloodmoon Ursaluna can carry my bacon. And that's not much of bacon, let's put it that way. So we'll flip the script. Because we need an energy. There's the energy. Sweet. I just have to hope I can... Then again, hold on. No, I can't go for game here. I can't go for game next turn, but what I could do is... Because I take 2 prizes here. How many energy would they need on this thingy? They'd need another 2 energy, but it's my only option is I have to go for Bloodmoon. I can't do anything else. There's no real option I can do here. If they have 2 grass I think they need, we just lose. Because it's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210. So yeah, they need another 2 energy to actually do it. And I suspect they do. Now if they don't, we could... Could we have game? No, I don't think so. Because I would need Noctowl, Crispin, I'd then need Night Stretcher as well. then again, no. I've just got to hope they don't have it, to be brutally honest. That's literally my only option. Like, I'm not even joking, that's literally my only option. I mean, I could go for, oh no, wait, why did it do 300? I thought it needed 2. Whatever, apparently not. Yeah, my only hope there was that they didn't have the knockout, and I could go for Orichalcum Fang plus Boss. But I would need, you know, a fighting energy off of the... Well, I'd need a Night Stretcher off of the Noctowl, and then obviously I'd need another energy of some sort. Well, I'd need an E-Switch, and then I can do that. So I could have had game next turn, but, well, Teal Mask plus Arbalever and Meganium is just too much pressure, and we don't play Fire-type coverage. Maybe that's something Tera Box needs to consider in the future. Anywho, let's go to game 3. Well, I must admit, this has been pretty rough, and I don't think it's the deck's fault, you know? The first match, we just got really unlucky with draws, and obviously we couldn't really do anything. The second game, you know, we just didn't really get to do anything, and by the time we did, we was just too far behind. And, you know, why are they playing Meganium in a deck like that? I don't get it. You don't need Meganium. But that's my thought process. So we're going to go first. I suspect by the coin, we're possibly facing Zygarde. Which, you know, that's fine. This is a pretty good opening hand, actually. Because we do obviously play the Teal Mask plus the Iron Leaves combo. No. Oh, is this another bloody Olive deck? Right, well, let's see if we can snack on the Olive this time and not lose to it. So we'll grab 2 Hoots and a Noct. We've got a Noct in the prizes, but I can live with that. Let's have a look at the prize cards. I've got Iron Leaves in the deck and the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, because you never know, this might be a combo deck. Latias is in hand, so I don't need to worry about that. So is Fez, and the Wellspring's in there. Good. Alright, so I can get you, Ultra Ball away you and you. I can get the Wellspring down early and threaten it. I'm thinning before I can, because then I get the maximum chance of, you know, thinning the deck in general. And we'll run Errand for 2. I was going to say I'd love the Psychic Energy or something similar. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that, because now we have the option to Noctowl for Jewel Seeker plus Sparkling Crystal, and we can just immediately nuke some Olives. There's a Poké Pad. Because like I said, we've not even used Wellspring once this video, which, for a deck like this, kind of criminal when you think about it. Something tells me, judging by the fact they just grabbed a Smolit, well, a Dolive, they don't have nothing, because they really should have grabbed another Smoliv, but I suspect they don't have a lot in that hand, because they should have grabbed a basic there. They shouldn't have grabbed an evolution. And it looks like, to me, my opponent is pretty much done for. So we will go for the Noctowl. We'll Jewel Seeker thanks to the Wellspring in play. Grab the Crispin. Oh, my Sparkling Crystal is actually prized, but it's fine, we've got a Water Energy. So I'll just grab the Crispin, we go for the Water Energy and the Grass. Do that. Attach. Free Retreat. And Torrential Pump for 100. We don't need Shuffle Energy into the deck. Sure, I don't know why you did that, but we'll take the win. We'll take a nice free win. Alright, game 4 it is. Let's see if we can redeem ourselves. See you in a moment. And welcome back to game 4. That was, I mean, you know, it was a win, but not a really deserved win, in a way. Like, yeah, we did need to obviously get a win at some point during this video, but, you know, when it's like that, when the opponent clearly doesn't know their deck very well, and doesn't see the lines that they may have had, you know, it's not as satisfying in a way. Like, when you get that win, you just feel bad for them. And that's kind of how I felt with that, you know, that player then. I don't think they knew the deck very well, or at least, you know, knowing how, you know, Wellspring can easily turn the tide for me and things like that. So I want to go first. No, but we can start a Kang, which is good. Extra draw is extra draw. Let's see what we get. Again, judging by the sleeves, I'm suspecting a Zygarde, but Well, I was proven wrong last time. Meowth, that's good for us, because we can get a nice easy knockout on that later. And yep, it is Zygarde. Okay. So Zygarde is a card that, again, my build feels pretty okay. It focuses more on the Gaia Wave, but you can, you know, use the Nullifying Zero and the Tool card, which is here, the the Core Memory. We're going to need to focus this guy down, because he is Grass Weak, which is why we've got the package that we do. He hasn't gotten any down any Binnacles, though, which is good. And that is a beautiful top deck. So we'll bench the Wellspring, so we get our full bench, which is good. We can then Buddy Poffin, grab 2 Hoots, and we might as well prize check, because then we can hop Noctowl. We'll grab our Noctowls in a bit. Passimian's in there, good. We're going to need that for Meowth. Was Koraidon in there? Koraidon is in there, good. We've got a Brox and a Cyrano in the prizes. Boss is in there, good. And is Crystal in here? No, Crystal's prized again, but that's okay. We don't need to worry about that. So then we'll bench the Fan. Fan call for a second Noctowl. Just the one, though, because we don't need to do any more. I can actually Poké Pad and grab my Passimian now. Because if I can go this first, I'm happy to do so. I don't need to play the Xynossair Balloon, so I'll just run errand. The Crispin's good. I do like that. I do like that. So we'll go Fighting, and what's not going to be relevant here? Psychic. It's a shame I don't have, what's his face? Latias, because we could have gone for a turn 1 attack on the Meowth. I mean, we can threaten it, but like, I don't need to move this Kang now. So I'm pretty happy to do what we're doing. But obviously, Mega Zygarde is quite a threat to us, because, well, it's big, it's bulky, it does have a lot of HP, but obviously its main attack that it's going to probably be using is Geobuster. So we're going to Brock Scouting, probably grab some Binnacles, I would assume. See, like, even with Meowths, like, the decks that I've been trying haven't really, like, been improving that much. Or the Mega Clefable deck I was on about at the start of the video. I've tried Meowth in it, and it literally doesn't make much of a difference. They've got the Bloodmoon Ursaluna well, the Baby Ursaluna and the Cornerstone. The Cornerstone is fine. They're going to Battle Hardened into the Bloodmoon Ursaluna. They only have the one, so that's good. And yeah, they're just going to pass. That's fine by me. There's my Koraidon, so we can bench that for another Terra. So then we'll Noctowl for Jewel Seeker. So, I need Brock Scouting, because did we have Latias in deck? Yes, we did. I didn't check if Teal Mask was in deck. We do have Teal Mask, but I don't have a way to get a Grass Energy, but that's okay. The droid's one off Kang, but that's fine. I've only used Crispin and Poké Pad and stuff. I don't need an Area 0. I might just take an Energy Switch. I don't really need anything else. Actually, no, I'll take a Terra Orb. I'll just take Terra Orb. It's a safer one. We can thin that later and just play it, I guess. So we'll take Latias and the Teal Mask. I would like a Grass Energy off of this Kang draw, but it's not a high chance. Okay, I didn't expect to be honest. So we'll attach Passimian, 3 retreat into the Passimian, and coordinated throwing for a big fat knockout. 8 basics down, 320. Well, yeah, 8 basics. Because we would have had 9 with Noctowl, but, you know, at least we got this off the prizes, which is important. I'm not bothered about the Cornerstone, because I'm just not. Like, we can Orichalcum Fang Impact Blow it. They're going to Judge. Okay, that's fine. It's funny because we don't actually have the well, we do have the Judge print now, but I still think Harlequin's just better in my opinion, but still. At least we have the Grass Energy for Teal Mask Ogerpon, which is pretty good, so we can get an extra draw in with that. Lunatone. Okay, how much bench are you running, man? Like, how much Pokemon are you running? Because you're going to want at least 2 or 3 of these. You're going to at least play 1 of these, same with 1 of these. Like, that's a lot. That is a lot. fighting Gong. So they've got a Solrock Lunatone Engine, a Bloodmoon Ursaluna, a Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon, but their only way of attack... And they've got Binnacles. This is a pile. Like, this is genuinely a pile. Energy Switch to the Zygarde. So they can attack with Gaia Wave now, but I'm not too threatened by that. There's Iron Leaves, we're going to need that later, so we'll Teal Dance. Okay, so I'm doing 160 damage right now. I could just boss the Fez, and I think I will. I'll just Noctowl for Jewel Seeker. I'll just grab a boss, and what else do I need? I don't really need anything else, I'll be really honest. I could take Crystal, because that could be relevant if I attack into the Zygarde. Yeah, I'll just take the Crystal. It's not too cumbersome right now. So yeah, I'm just going to boss the Fez, Crystal the Mask, and Coordinate Throw-In. Take out the Fez. Pretty simple. So now they can come up with their big bad Zygarde, but that's why I play this. And even then, I can attack with Teal Mask. It's not a big deal. And I'm going to go for a Lillies. They can obviously Gaia Wave, which means it will be effectively 340 HP, but that shouldn't matter. It's only if they play like health boosting tools and stuff like that, but they don't have the... Well, they don't really have those anymore. Like, there's Hero's Cape, but I would expect maybe, you know, Unfair Stamp in this deck. But if they attack with this Zygarde, we basically win. There's the Barbaracle. That's fine. And yeah, they're just going to Gaia Wave, I assume. They're going to get rid of this core memory, trying to thin the hand. They're going to Night Stretcher back something. Maybe they could go for Nullifying Zero. That could be something. They could get 4 prizes if they get so many heads. That is definitely an option. They could definitely do that. But let's see what they do. There's another Barb. I don't know why they're fitting that, because I don't have another one down, but sure. There's Flip the Script. That's fine. Like I say, his best option here, I think, is to Gaia Wave and just hope I don't have the attack with Teal Mask. But you have 4 energy on this Zygarde. That is quite a big assumption. But that's just my opinion. Let's see what they do, because I think the best... Like, they could go for Nullifying Zero, but, like, that to me just doesn't feel right, because... Yeah, they're going for Gaia Wave. I thought they would. Alright, so to win, we just need a Grass Energy, pretty much. Because... Yeah, hold on. So... 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. Yeah. We win with Teal Mask. I just had to do the math quickly then. So we'll go to Crispin. Grab a Grass and a light or a Water Energy. Do that. Attach just to make sure, because I'm not 100% certain. Yeah, 450. And we'll take out the Mega Zygarde for game. At least we got to redeem ourselves from the earlier matches. That's the positive thing. But there we go. We managed to take the win against Mega Zygarde pile, as I'm calling that, because that was a pile. You know, like, I respect the Barb and the Binnacles and stuff like that. You know, the Fez makes complete sense, but when you're adding in a Solrock Lunatone package on top of that, that just feels like a lot to add in, but that's my opinion. And that proves how little I've played the ranked when I've literally just got into Snom. But anyway. So, what did I think to this deck? I don't think this is a bad build. I think it's just a case of we got quite unlucky. I will say, I think we need a Fire type in this deck. Like, you know, Moltres to deal with the amount of Teal Mask that are possibly going to be running around. And after that, you could maybe even add in something like Gouging Fire. Not the single prizer, the EX one. It's just getting that guy going, because obviously it needs 2 Fire Energy plus a Colorless Energy, and obviously it's not a Terra. Maybe we could get something decent that's, you know, Terra type and Fire type. That could be decent, you know, like, but then again, that would be quite a lot to ask for, because then we'd have to completely change the engine. It's a shame we didn't get to use Koraidon today, because that's mainly what I wanted to feature in this video, is Koraidon, but, you know, as per usual, Passimian, whenever I put him in a deck, he does his job, and that's really good. But no, I enjoyed this deck. I think it just needs a few upgrades to, you know, deal with the new rise in grass decks. I think it does need that. And, you know, I think it just needs a little bit more work on its consistency. But you know what? I'm pretty happy with this first build, and hopefully it was worth the wait, because obviously this video was delayed to Saturday. But anyway, I'm going to leave you all to it for today. I really hope you enjoyed seeing Tera Box Post Rotation. Obviously, I will be working on the Megas and stuff like that. Probably the only one that I'm probably not going to end up doing a video on is Clefairy, unless any of you guys have a good deck list for me, because I'm really struggling to get that card to work. But anywho, I'll leave you all to it, and I'll see you next time.